thank all of you for being here live or downloading this video in the future. Man, thank you so much. And excuse me. Man, this weather was great in New York City today. It was in the 70s. I'm still recovering from that asthma last week. I know a lot of people are having issues with the air due to the weather changes, the humidity, and so on. If you're out there suffering from that asthma, man, I got a good remedy for you. I got it from this Dominican elder. You get radish, onions, garlic, and some uh, extra virgin olive oil, and you mix that in with some vinegar. And let me tell you something. You do that nice mixture. You leave it. You can put it in a jar. You can put it in your refrigerator, or you can leave it out. And the juices that come out of that. Oh, I forgot. It's red onion. The juices that come out of that will help your lungs a lot. So I'm still detoxing a lot of those allergies I got last week as well. So man, I'd like to thank everyone, all you Boricuas out there, Puerto Ricans, how you identify. It's all good because yesterday was a truce day. It was the one of well, it was several yesterday on Sunday, 14th June. Puerto Rican Day Parade. A national parade was in New York City. Saw a lot of those colors, and it was awesome. I spent a good 10 years marching in that parade, and the adrenaline rush you get seeing your people in the crowds is amazing. And I did it as dressed up in regalia, 99.9% of the time, and people just went ballistic with the music and everything. And then when as Taino Sagrado, there was one year with Legendary Action Wrestling Company. I was marching with my wrestling uh, regalia, and this is the boots right here that I wore as Taino Sagrado in Borinquen, Najarito. I wrestled also here in Brooklyn and Bronx and so on as Taino Sagrado. It was a very good time in my life wrestling with Legendary Action Wrestling and Los Mejores Wrestling in Puerto Rico. So a lot of good memories and hoping to be there next year. So if you're interested and you're in a tri-state area, Taino Fun House, I'm gonna apply for next year. So if you're interested in uh, coming with me, just let me know, okay? Shoot me an email at, the email, TainoFunHouse at proton.net. I just want to show you the resistance belt. This is the resistance replica world heavyweight champion. This is the belt that Ric Flair made famous. And basically, this is a replica that I bought because I'm going to tell you a little story about the origins of Okoki Championship Wrestling. I know a lot of you have questioned me, like, what the hell with the wrestling AI stuff going on? Well, in my last live, there was some people that were bad mouthing Naguake, saying that the Naguake was a scam or whatever. Well, I got first-hand experience, bro. Right, you doing? So, so here's the thing. First-hand experience for good 3 years in Nahuatl community in Comerío, Omacao, San Lorenzo, Yabacoa, Espino. These are all these communities that I visited when I was a member of Nahuatl indigenous community. And I said in the last video in 2008, 2009, it was the highlight of Nahuatl because they had their own land. They were stewards of the land. They built up by day, and I'm working on a documentary on this. And I got the photos, I got the interviews, but I have to get back there. In which the Benepec, which is the present party right now, took back the land and made it into a garbage dump. So let's fast forward to 2019. Dr. Yere Melendez, the late Dr. Yere Melendez, and I we put our heads together because we lost 90% of funding from the first Trump administration. 90%. So you're talking from $200,000 down to almost nothing. So she had one program left. It was the Comerio school. It was hanging on to life support after Hurricane Maria up until 2019. Now, Ake was able to receive a grant in which they will take the youth, the children, to a sacred site. So she brought the children to a yunque, which is our sacred site as Borinqueños and also all Tainos throughout the islands. The significance of a yuque mountain, the white mountain. So, so here's the thing. So we got this idea. Well, I proposed this idea. I was wrestling as Taino Sagrado. Taino Sagrado was born from now the children of Naguake. I used to dress up in my wrestling garb for the children, and we used to say we're wrestling for the Taino culture, and all the kids will cheer on and stuff like that. So that's where Taino Sagrado was born. And so I say, hey, let's make a belt, a championship belt, and then we'll slap the koki. Well, this is a bigger version. This is the prototype of the koki that will go on the belt. And then we'll bring wrestlers from the north. We had so many storylines, and some of the storylines that I posted on YouTube, like Ponce de, a descendant of Ponce de Leon, who in Dominican and Quisqueya, Haiti, and also Borinquen, he was an assassin. He was a murderer, a killer, and so on. So how dare a descendant of Ponce de Leon will come back to Omagao Coliseum and and wrestle the future generation of Taino. So or the present generation of Taino. So we had that storyline. We had some wrestlers already. Some were already committed to come, especially from Legendary Action Wrestling. Um, it was going to be held in Homacao Coliseum, which I believe they can hold 5,000 people or something. So we were gonna do a major fundraiser for Nahuake. So the reason I'm sharing this is because um and the reason why it didn't happen, COVID showed up. COVID showed up. What kind of wrestling? No, it was independent wrestling. We are gonna get local wrestlers, pro wrestlers from the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, also from Quisqueya, and we want to fly them in, wrestle the local talent, and we want to do fundraising, and we're going to create characters that was good versus evil in the sense of the invaders, aka conquistador descendants, were wrestle the Taino, you know. So a lot of that was going on. We had some preliminary talks with the promoters out there, with the not the promoters. I was the promoter of the people of the Coliseum. Yeah, they did some amazing political work in trying to get a meeting together, and then it just collapsed towards the end because some health issues and also COVID-19 showed up. So, and then slowly and slowly by 2021, Taino Sagrado went to retirement, couldn't wrestle anymore. And so here's the thing. I was reminiscing recently when they were talking about how Nawak is a sham. It wasn't really an indigenous community. And I was thinking of all those kids, man, when I used to wear my boots and, where I used to wear a mask, and all those kids will love it. And I says, hey, we're wrestling for you're wrestling for the culture. You're keeping the culture alive. And then the kids will be really happy. Hold on, what's that say? That's dope. Oh, thanks, man. Dope. Yeah, so I still have the belt. I have what a replica championship belt. We're gonna modify it, and we're gonna put the koki on there, and we were gonna do it for fundraising for the schools. But as history goes, in 2021, Dr. Martinez died. Unfortunately, she died, um, and the nonprofit that she has started, that eventually did die. But the Nahuatl community is still alive and well. It's a mountainous community of Gomerio. And then you got the regions up in the southeast, Ombao, and you have Espino, San Lorenzo. It's all there. The people are still there. See, Nahuatl is not uh it's not a designated area like, oh, that's where the Nahuaqueños live. That happened in 2008, 2009 though. It was a stationary uh, place. But then the community, they banded together, and after Hurricane Maria hit, it really separated the communities due to power and gas shortages. But I was there with Yare when we made the rounds. Finally, we made the rounds and visiting the community members. And I'm gonna I'm gonna post some photos little by little. There was a woman who was on a ventilator, and we had to bring food to them. And and I tell you, the people were there. There was no electricity. There was no water, and but the people were unified. So that's when I saw Nawake at his high point. A sense of people were missing each other. I remember someone scolded Yare, "Hey, what took you so long?" And then Yare was like, "The roads are closed. I couldn't come up these mountains. The roads." So, and I saw a lot of hugs. I saw a lot of tears and kisses, and I saw the children that man, I tell you, but I don't know if you guys realize in your studies and so on. Hold on a second. Um, Wait, can I say what I say? Okay. Yeah, I wrestled as Taino Sagrado. I was born in the mountains of Nahuaque. These are my wrestling boots right here. Right. So I wrestled somewhat in the island. I also wrestled under the name of Indio Rebelde. They made me a bad guy. One of the reasons why they made me a bad guy or heel is because, wearing the face paint, I didn't have the mask at that time. But I wore the face paint, I had the feathers, I had body paint. I went in traditional as much as I could, and the kids were scared of me. They actually thought I was a real deal um, cannibal. That's what they were calling me, cannibal in Spanish. And I'm telling you, if I really believed in that gimmick, playing this cannibal Indian, if in my head, I think I would have made some money. But morals kick in, ethics kick in. I was like, wait a minute. So I'm trying to. I'm like, my God, I'm looking at these, the Puerto Rican kids, and I'm saying, damn, they're scared of me. They're scared of the image of an Indian. So that really blew me away. So uh, I wanted to go back to the masks, but with the makeup, it kind of helped people, kind of put fear in the kids and stuff. So eventually, I just didn't pursue that part of being a bad Taino Sagrado or dark Sagrado, right? But it was a good experience for me, the psychology of the children, of the things that they fear and the things that they revere. So it was a good experience. Well, I finally, in my last match in Puerto Rico, Nanajito, I was able to fight in Mecanico, which was the highlight of my life and career. And man, we had a good match, and here's a confession. I never said this live, but there was a spot in the match where I had to jump, and I had to do some high risk maneuvers, but not too maybe a couple of days before the match. My daughter, she had a dream that I was gonna get killed in the ring. So so I blew it off like, oh, it's just a dream. But I was very, very careful. One of the things that wrestlers do when they enter the ring, they clean their boots, their feet, soles on the canvas, and then they enter the square circle. And that's giving honor to all those wrestlers who died before us, who died in that ring. I had whiplash, had a couple of injuries in my back. I still got a bad knee because the training that goes into a show, a wrestling match, is second to none. I remember when I wasn't in shape that much, the I remember the Gino's like, all right, I want you to go up those go up the rafts there, go up the seats. What do you call those? Those movable seats that fans sit in? Those basketball seats. So I had to go up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, you had to pick guys up like 250 pounds and carry. So it was an experience, and I did this in my early 50s, and it was a dream come true. It was a dream come true for me. Age doesn't matter. What it means is the heart. You have to have the heart. And I remember there was a scene, and I remember telling this to Yare, man, if we could replicate this in Puerto Rico, we could make some money for the kids in the show. But one of the things that blew me away when I was in legendary action wrestling, um, the original Super Taino, he had asked me um, to do a prayer in the ring before the show. And then so what we did was I got good feedback from the fans doing that, you know, sponging the ring and so on. So when we did it again, um, we kind of have a heel come and confront me. But I remember when I did the blessing, there was a hush in the crowd the first time I did it. There was a hush. I had my Taino. I was being a Behike. I wasn't cosplaying. I was really being the Behike, and there was a hush in the crowd. And then someone yelled, Brujo! You know, like witch. Brujo! And I remember right after that, someone said, Taino! Taino! You know? And I looked, and it was this sweet grandmother. She just started yelling, Taino, Indio, Indio, Taino. And then everyone just went like, yeah, you know. So after that, I would do the blessings and stuff in the ring. And then eventually it was part of my gimmick. I'll get jumped by the bad guy, or they'll take my feather. It was all great. So here's the thing, you know, you're teaching the culture, you're teaching the children through wrestling. So we try to do that in Naguake. So so if you guys see any videos, you see some storylines of Taino Sagrado or the Taino monk, you know, these were actually real characters that we were discussing about using, that I kind of bring a little bit. Taino Sagrado, Sanakori number two, which the, you know, the clown. So so that's the thing. You know, these are real characters that never really came to be. Maybe one day, if I hit the lotto or I really save a good money, I think I could pull off a show. You know, I think I could pull it off. And maybe one day someone will be holding the super duper Goki championship belt. What was your finisher? Oh, okay, here it is. My finisher was, I will go on the top rope or on the second rope, and I'll do the chop, the tomahawk chop. Since I was like one of the shortest wrestlers, my whole gimmick was really get beat up for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, have people almost crying because I was so beat up, and then I'll start reaching up to the heavens. I'll start reaching to the heavens. I start calling the ancestors, and then I'll be on one knee and I'll get hit, and then I'll be on two knees and I'll get hit again. Then all of a sudden I'm standing up and I'm reaching up to the sky, and then boom, I get hit again. Now the fourth time, I'm ready to give some chops. I tell you, it worked really well. But yeah. So that was the finisher. My finish is mostly magic, you know. Yeah. So, but I was being taught for one moment. I was being taught different leg locks, like the figure four. The figure four leg lock was gonna be my finisher, but I never really was super committed to the training at that point because of some injuries. Um, so I'm trying to think, but yeah. So there we go. So if you see these wrestlers, man, that's where it's coming from, and it's a dream that we never really fulfill in Nawake. But I just want to show you the staff. This is the staff that was given to me on in Nawake at the Batu in Comerio, that in the Bate I should say, that I will build a bridge between Turtle Island here in America, United States, and bringing the people back to the islands. So that's one dream, and I still got the staff. That's one dream that I do want to do is to help bring people. So in the next few months, I'll be putting out some alerts. If you're really interested in doing some ceremonies back in the homelands like Borinquen and Quisqueya, if you're really serious, you gotta hit me up. I'll be planning some trips, both islands, and and if you're really serious, please let me know at Taino Fun House at proton me. And one of the reasons why I'm being a little more aggressive with this whole thing is, especially from the diaspora, there's so many negativity that's still out there from northern native people, about, and also my own Boricua people, saying that Taino, we as a culture really does don't exist anymore, or we're just cosplaying and stuff like that. So it's always going to be like that, because what happened was in 1492 and so on, the invasion was so powerful, the invasion was so intense, that technically speaking, it should have it should have exterminated every indigenous Caribbean person on the islands. It technically, it should have. Hold on. I think in last episode, one one of the best interesting to hear more about Nahuake. Right, yeah, Nahuake. I'm telling you, a lot of people don't. I'm gonna dedicate a lot more time on Nahuake because it's still alive and well. And recently, it was blasted. 10 years later, or 11 years later. But like I said, I have the staff here. I still want to build a bridge. I've been helping other people organize, like Arayeke, and through the years, I've helped other Yukayekes and stuff. So here's the thing. I'm a bridge builder. I want to build a nice bridge again from Borinquen. I mean, from diaspora, Turtle Island, to the homelands. I have a really great brother, and sisters out in Quisqueya. I made tremendous friendships there. And also in Borinquen and Cerro de Bojique, where the Bejiques hung out, man, for thousands of years, since 600 Common Era to 1500s. It's a wonderful sacred land, and we're doing Guanara ceremonies there. I'm hoping to do one before the winter. Okay, I keep pushing it because it takes a lot to organize it, but before the winter time, we'll we'll be in Borinquen doing stuff. And also, if you're interested in Quisqueya, okay. Hold on a second. We'll have. Oh, thank you, man. A character, right? It's cool. Well, wrestling has always been my love. The New York Mets also my love. Oh, let me show you. This was the modified version of the Nahuatl flag. Well, this was gonna be the new version created by Javier Hernandez, the one that wrote the book Taino Naiki. So you can see you can see those lines. Those are the rivers in Borinquen. The top part is a Yunque, and of course Yokahu, and those stars represented all the main, not Yucayecas, but the main communities in the southeast region of Borinquen. And what Nahuatl does now more than ever is the same strategy the Taino, our ancestors, use. You stay quiet. You stay under the radar. You're not going to see any TikToks about Nahuatl. You'll see some old YouTube clips if you look very carefully. But here's the thing: they wanted to erase us. The Spanish, they figured it out. They could not exterminate our people, our ancestors. They couldn't. So what they did was second best thing. They created a paper genocide. Let's remove them from the census. So guess what? Even though they try to eliminate us, they kind of work in a way for us, for our favor, our ancestral favors. because we felt a lot of us fell under the radar. A lot of the ancestors. Now, what's a little different now than many of the other Caribbean kind of flavors, sazon, like the African flavor, the Spanish flavor, the Taino flavor. A lot of stuff was hidden for so long, and a lot of stuff was lost. And I can tell you right now, the herbal medicine that was definitely not lost. Um, the midwifery, taking care of people on their deathbed, the bone setters, the culanderos, they it's the abuela with the cigar, you know, it took its identity, and I think that's why a lot of people get upset when someone says I'm Taino, or I'm indigenous Caribbean, It's like, well, when did that happen, you know? So I think we just have to embrace it. Just say, hey man, all power to you. Instead of questioning someone, eat a meal with them first before you criticize them. You know, how about this? Let's go play batu. If we can't play batu, let's play volleyball. You know, that's the Taino way. And I like using the word Taino. I know a lot of Tainos don't. A lot of indigenous Caribbean folks don't like it. They said it came from the Spanish and this and that. All I know is that Columbus, his doctor, his personal physician, was the first one to hear the name Taino, and it was in reference to someone of the Taino culture was trying to identify himself differently from, say, the Kalinago. So Taino, noble. I know if I have a thug coming to me, or I got a Spanish conquistador, bloodthirsty rapist thug coming up to me and asking me a question, hey, I'm gonna say, hey man, I'm cool, man, I'm cool. I don't know if you can try. I think for me, hey, I'm cool means Taino. Hey, I'm cool. I don't want no trouble, man. I know you stink. I know you be raping some girls, and I know I really want to hurt you, but we're outnumbered right now. So chill, chill. I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm the cool one. You see what I mean? A lot of our ancestors, that was their stance. That was their rebellion. They kept alive by implementing themselves in the society. And that's warrior shit right there, you know? Now a lot of different other communities, they fought. They went for blood, you know. There's a lot of stuff, man. When you're desperate and when your culture is at the brink, you will do anything in your power to keep those abuelas, to keep the children alive, to keep the women alive. You'll do everything in your power. So right now in 2026, let's try to get together. And they say, hey, I know you're cool. I'm cool. Let's get together. Let's chill. And I think this is what thing we wanted to do with wrestling, was, to bring their anger out. A descendant of Ponce de Leon. Like, really? What? And then you say you have Super Taino, who was the former law heavyweight champion, was gonna wrestle one of these invaders, descendants of the invaders, Super Taino. Um, so just trying to think. There's so many good stories from that time. Frankie Flo, who was the owner of Legendary Action Wrestling, he was the first Super Taino world heavyweight champion. That's right. So, hey guys, thank you for tuning in. I just want to give you that insight about the wrestling stuff. Maybe one day I'll promote the show, and I would love for you guys to be there. But Taino Sagrado from the mountains of Naguake, he was born when the children needed a hero. The children needed role models. Okay, they needed people, adults, to say, "Hey, you are indigenous. Tú tienes la sangre indio. You got the Taino blood. We got this." And wrestling took that role for a little bit, you know. So guys, I'd like to thank you all. I'll see you soon. hopefully I'm gonna be back constantly, trying to get some more subscribers so we can learn together that we are still here. Take care.